When you think of the most successful investors in history, one name probably pops into your head: Warren Buffett. But here's the thing: the most important lessons from him have almost nothing to do with the stock market itself. His journey from a kid in Nebraska to a global icon, it really reveals a set of golden rules for life, for business, and for success. So, what are they? We have to start with his most famous rule: never lose money. It sounds so simple, right? Almost too simple. But trust me, behind that one sentence is a whole lifetime of discipline and patience. This single idea is really the key to his entire empire. So, how did he even develop this mindset? Well, our story really starts with a simple question. How does a boy from Omaha, Nebraska, born smack in the middle of the Great Depression, become the world's most famous investor, the Oracle of Omaha? For Warren Buffett, his business sense wasn't something he learned in school. It feels like it was just part of his DNA. While other kids were out playing, he was busy building these tiny little empires, selling everything from Coca-Cola and gum to newspapers door to door. That drive is there from the very, very beginning. And this timeline just shows you how fast it all happened. At just 11 years old, he makes his first stock purchase. 11. Then, by 14, he's not buying video games or toys. He's taking the money he earned from his paper route and investing it in 40 acres of farmland. It was this path that eventually led him to Columbia University, where he'd meet the one person who would shape his entire philosophy. And that mentor was the legendary Benjamin Graham. Now, at Columbia, Graham didn't just teach another class. He basically became the intellectual father of Buffett's entire investment philosophy. He gave him a framework that would guide literally decades of decisions. And here it is. This is the core of that framework: value investing. The idea is absolutely brilliant because it's built on a simple truth. Markets are kind of crazy sometimes, driven by fear and by greed. Value investing is just the discipline of ignoring all that noise, doing your homework to figure out what a company is actually worth, and then only buying it when it's on sale. It's kind of like finding a dollar bill on the street, but you only have to pay 50 cents for it. Now, Buffett didn't just keep this as some academic theory in a textbook. Oh no. In 1956, he started his own investment partnership. He took Graham's principles, went out and found these undervalued companies, and just started achieving returns that absolutely crushed the market averages. He proved, in the real world, that the model worked. So all that early success really laid the groundwork for his masterwork. Back in 1962, Buffett started buying up stock in this struggling textile company called Berkshire Hathaway. Now, on the surface, it seemed like a really odd choice, but Buffett saw an opportunity that pretty much everyone else missed. He realized very quickly that the actual textile business was a dead end. So instead of trying to save this failing industry, he made an incredible strategic pivot. He used the cash from the company to buy other, better businesses, transforming Berkshire Hathaway from a failing mill into this powerhouse holding company for amazing brands like Geico and Coca-Cola. And this right here perfectly shows a key evolution in his thinking, thanks in huge part to his longtime partner, Charlie Munger. See, at first, Buffett was strictly following Graham's teachings, looking for what they called cigar butts. Mediocre companies that were so cheap they had one last puff of value left. But Munger convinced him that it's way, way better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price. And that completely shifted their focus toward long-lasting quality. So, after this incredible journey of learning and evolving, what are the core principles that we can all take away from this? Let's try to distill his entire philosophy, his economic proverbs, you could call them, down into a few golden rules. Okay, here's the Buffett playbook in 3 simple steps. First, preserve your capital. His 2 rules are famous for a reason. Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1. Second, think long-term. He's not trying to get quick wins. He buys great companies with the intention of holding them forever. And third, understand your investment. He famously avoids super complex tech stocks, saying he only invests within his circle of confidence. But Buffett's story isn't just about piling up wealth. It's also about what he plans to do with it all. And honestly, his approach to his personal life and his legacy is just as fascinating as his investment strategy. Just look at this number: 99%. It's staggering. Warren Buffett has pledged to give away 99% of his immense fortune to charity, and most of it is going to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He's famously said he wants to leave his kids enough money so that they can do anything, but not so much that they can do nothing. And this, to me, is maybe the most powerful detail of all. For all the billions, he still lives in the same modest house he bought in Omaha way back in 1958. He's famously frugal, preferring a McDonald's breakfast over some fancy meal. It just shows you that he is completely focused on what actually matters to him, not all the fancy trappings of wealth. And true to his philosophy, Buffett's final big move is also a long-term one, planning his succession. He's made sure that the company's unique culture is going to continue, putting a solid structure in place for the future. For the ultimate long-term investor, this is really the final piece of the puzzle. So all of this leaves us with one big question. Everything about Buffett's approach is built on patience, on discipline, on long-term thinking. But in our world of instant gratification, high-speed trading, and crypto, is his slow and steady wisdom more important than ever? Or is it just a relic of a bygone era? It's definitely something to think about.